This episode, 3 things that bug us. The handyman business is a great business, but like any business, there are things that bug us. So Johnny and I decided we would have a discussion about the things that bug us on the job. Welcome to the Handyman Pros Radio Show, home improvement and maintenance tips from the pros. Thanks for listening to another edition of the Handyman Pros Radio Show, where our goal is to help save you time, money, and aggravation on your home maintenance and repair. This edition is entitled The Things That Bug Us. And to help me explain, Johnny, my good buddy and old friend.
Oh, yeah, man. It's time to... Every time I turn around, something's bugging me. You know, the older I get, it's the old man thing. Get off my lawn. You know.
Yeah, this is the grumpy old man.
Yeah, it's the grumpy. This is the grumpy old man show. Yeah,
Jeez.
this is. I mean, we can bitch and complain about just about anything.
That's right.
I don't know why. I don't know why the older the older you get, the more things that Maybe it's you kind of miss the days of kind of yelling and stuff. I don't know. But, I was just doing some electrical work, the other day.
Yep.
And, boy, I tell you, I'll start off by saying, hey, I love you guys, you electricians out there, but man, can you just mark those frickin' panels better? I don't know if it's me or what. But every time I go into one of these things, it is cryptic.
It's cryptic.
It's cryptic, and the handwriting.
Stinks.
It's like, I got to take a class in reading, hieroglyphics or something. And I know you guys, I know people want to get in and out of the job, but the lasting, what you're leaving, the footprint that you leave behind, is that card inside that thing. Inside the panel that tells you, this fuse, that, or what breaker.
Yeah, this does what, this does that, right?
Yeah, and it's, how can I say it? If you can add some detail to it, it's like there's always some of the houses that I've been in, they're bigger homes and they have multiple panels, and it's like, wow. What does what, without chasing it down with a tool,
Right.
And I get that, but it's just, it's like take a little time and give it a little detail behind each one of those breakers. So,
well, can I add in mine? 'Cause this one plays right into it. My very first one has to do with poor work from builders and contractors. Right. And so we see the sins of basically, anywhere from a week to 30, 40, 50 years ago. Right. And so folks, if as a contractors, the contractors that do substandard work, we end up fixing it all these years later. And right to Johnny's point, the electrical box is one of them. The significance of the electrical box is that in today's world, you don't just flip breakers anymore, folks, to turn them on and off, because people have computers and Wi-Fi systems, and there's a whole network of things going on. And so you just don't go into the box and start flipping breakers. I never do that, because here's my customer's on a Zoom call with his boss, click off.
Right.
Oops.
Well,
Sorry,
and that's a great, that's a great catch. And that's one of the things, like, when I was growing up, it'd be like, well, what's this? Flip it. Who cares? Right. Even the clocks weren't even electronic.
Correct.
So it wasn't a big deal, but now
deal.
you can,
Oh, you can screw up somebody's security. Oh, you can do all kinds of things. I mean, the security system to everything is running on power today off the boards. And so, so again, this kind of lends itself. My thing is poor work from, we see the shortcuts that people took 20 years ago. And this shortcut in the box is one. I agree with you, Johnny. It drives me crazy. You know what? Electricians or people in the box, people doing repairs, get a label maker. I can't read my handwriting, let alone I don't expect anybody to read my, somebody else's handwriting. I can't read it. So I type mine all out. I literally, if I'm working in a box, I add a breaker or whatever, it's typed. I just redid at one of my rental houses, and I actually printed a 2-column spreadsheet off, and I'm gluing that on the inside of the box because you can read it. You
And
know
I
what I
can
mean?
add a lot of detail behind it as well. So,
Correct.
and also I'll move on to the next topic, but it's kind of put some white out or some kind of stuff in, some white paint on the numbers of what breakers. Because I always got my phone, with the light sideways so I can see the shadows, because you can't look straight on to,
Right.
where they're imprinted in there, and it's 1, 3, 5, 2, 4, 6, it's,
Yep. Always.
it's, and I know for you guys that are electricians out there, you do this
They're all
every
the
day.
same, so you don't care.
Yeah,
Right.
you're
Exactly.
doing this every day, so it's not a big deal, and you're probably like, yeah, screw you guys. But but occasionally when you go in there, and this is for the homeowner, occasionally when you go in there, it takes you, I just get frustrated. I'm spending like 5 or 7, 10 minutes trying to figure out what's what.
Yeah. Yep.
It's like a furnace, oven, then it's like scribbled out and it's all faded away. It's like,
Yeah. And
ugh.
again, it used to not matter, right? It used to not
That's
matter.
right.
Today it
It
matters. Today
matters.
it
Yeah.
really matters. It's really important to know. And I'll tell you, this one came off a job the other day, Johnny. Here's another thing too. The new arc fault breakers also tend to have, how do I want to say this? Well, we had one go bad. I'm just going to put it that way. And fortunately, this was a single one that was just on the microwave circuit of all the strange things. And the microwave was fine, but it kept popping the breaker. I mean, so we swapped it out and found out that the thing actually had a little, I don't know, it had a little hoo-ha in it, and it was going bad. But what I was most concerned with was what else was on that circuit, because again, when I used the story of the guy actually on a call with either a customer or a boss, that's not a joke. I've had that happen, and I'm like, and so I literally ask before I start flipping any breakers anymore, because the other side to that is you go and flip the breaker off, and it says kitchen, and the guy's bedroom goes off where his office is now.
Well, this is exactly. So this is exactly where my frustration comes in on this. It says one thing, and you flip it. You might be working on something, but it flips off, like a whole different room. Okay.
Yep.
It's a click. And just to add to what you're saying about, the guy in the Zoom call and everything, folks, if you don't have some kind of protection on your computers, you should, because you can really screw them up by a quick on and off.
Yeah, no, I understand that.
If there's not like a battery backup that's standing between you and that breaker, the breaker box.
Right, exactly. All right, Johnny, what's another one? Give us a different
one. Here's my classic. Okay, so what's the one thing you go into, I mentioned earlier, but you go into the big box store, you go into any place for what? What's the reason? For us to get parts.
Yeah,
to get parts,
stuff,
go back.
Basically, our goal is to get in and get out.
And get in and get out.
Right.
So Larry and I have talked about, there's two things that bug me about this. Larry and I have talked about using like a Home Depot or the Lowe's app on your phone, which is great. Because now you can just go in there and say, really, hey, it's aisle 34, bay 15. Okay.
Right. I got to tell you, quick aside here. One of my favorite things is I go into those stores now, and if you do take the time to ask somebody, I watched one guy, he pulled up the app on his phone. Yeah, he pulls up the app on his phone. I'm like, I have the app.
Right.
Right.
That's how much you need to know to work there anymore. But but I go in aisle 34. So you walk in, right? The aisles are numbered, logically 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, I go back, 34, no 34. It ends at like 33. It's like, well, what the hell? And then you look over here and now it starts in the 50s. It's like, where did this aisle go to? It always seems that it never fails me. But I will tell you one thing that really bothers me is that when I go into that place and I say, man, I just need to get in and out and go back and go to work, is that the freaking gates are up on the aisle.
Oh, because
and they're
moving
restocking or they're
Restocking,
pulling
yeah.
something down. You know, I'm like, all I need was that washer from the plumbing aisle. You know, and I gotta wait while the guy's walking with the flags. And
Hey, Johnny, it could be worse. They could do what they did to me the other day. They blocked off the aisle going to the restroom. That was a serious
oh
deal.
well, there you go. Yeah,
I mean, you know.
I mean, it's just, you know, it's the old man syndrome, I guess. It's just, but you know, it's like I gotta wait around. Just I can see it. I can just reach over the thing.
So I'm gonna
I don't
pick
know
on that one.
if I'm making sense here, but I don't know.
Oh, if you're in there a lot, guess what? It happens to you, right?
It
We're in
happens
there
to me
lot.
all the time. I don't know. Maybe, you know, folks out there that experience that, you know, drop us a line on that. Maybe I'm off my rocker, but
No, you're not. You're not. I will give you a strategy on that. If you go in the evenings, they never do that. Very rare that they do it in the evenings, which why I don't know. But now the problem when you go in the evenings is, guess what? You can't get to the checkout because nobody's working. It's like
nobody. Well, that's the other thing. You know, everything is now, you know,
yeah, self-serve.
Self-serve. I mean, absolutely. Absolutely. Anyways,
because of course you got to have the UPC code on, and if you don't have the UPC code, now you're in trouble. Anyway, I was going to use a different word.
Yeah.
But there's one other. There's a correlation that I have that's the bug. When they don't take the aisles down after they're done. Have you ever had that happen, John?
Yes.
Oh my God. You're like sitting there waiting and you're like, yes. I don't hear a forklifft. I don't hear anything going on.
Nobody's in the aisle, but the gates are up. And I'm like,
but the gates are up. Yeah.
I'm like, yeah.
And just I'm just going to tell you something you already know, but I want the audience to understand. They do that for safety reasons. Sometimes because when they're moving, it had to have happened. Some lawyers told them to do this.
Absolutely. Right? I understand this completely, but
somebody pushed over an aisle one time and the whole thing fell over and it killed somebody on the other side of the aisle. Right. So they do it. But to this point that we're talking about right here is you look on 3 aisles on each side of where the gate's up, you know, and there's nobody. There. And you're like, and all I end up doing is going, F it, and I move the damn thing, and I go get what I want. But it is annoying because it's there for a reason, and the reason is, you know, is a safety reason, and I don't want to go against their policies. But at the same time, if they don't, you know, do what they're supposed to do too, it's the world is not about me. But to your point, John, it's always just I just need that right there, and I see it. It's right really there.
It's just one of those things.
Yeah, yeah. So those are Johnny's. I've got to tell you what mine are. So we just did a show on tax time. So tax time is one of my bug lists, but we're not going to go into depth of that. Listen to the show we just recorded on that one. But I have 2. One is, and this is truly an Atlanta thing, but I'm sure everybody in any major city says that's traffic. I cannot stand it. It drives me crazy. And Atlanta folks, if you don't live in Atlanta, you have to understand. I use Google Maps when I'm going to the grocery store because who the heck knows? And I don't care what time it is. It can be 3 o'clock in the morning. You say, oh, there'll be no traffic. And there's some wreck, and the freaking highways are backed up for miles. It's like, you've got to be kidding me.
Yeah.
And Johnny, I got a great story. So the other day I'm going to the same job. I had 2 days at a job, right? I go on Thursday morning. It's bright. It's sunny. It's beautiful day. I'm heading off to this job that originally Google Maps said it was going to be just under an hour. An hour and a half later, I'm there. Now, it's a beautiful, bright, sunny day. So the next day I'm going, it's going to be raining. And it's happened to be a Friday. Raining on a Friday morning. This is just a nightmare. I got there in 42 minutes. I'm like, I don't get it.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, there's no rhyme or and that goes for any place. And there's no rhyme or reason. And anybody's listening to us out in California, holy mackerel. I used to drive out there. Whoa. No thanks.
It's the old man grumpy list,
boy.
Right?
But
I will say this. Thank God for Google Maps, right? Because at least sometimes you can, you know, at that point I text the customer, hey, stuck in traffic, you know, be there at, you know, whatever. Time.
But you're right. I mean, I always look at it just to see what, you know, if there's an accident somewhere, if there's, you know, what's is the construction, is the coast clear or what's going on here? You know, I mean, it's kind of, it's crazy. but yeah, just getting around from customer to customer.
Customer. Yeah, it can be incredibly, especially, I mean, I've lived in other places I lived in Boston for a long time, and you have a different set of traffic issues in Boston because of the way their road system is. But anyway, it's relatively predictable. Atlanta, for whatever reason, is just a mess.
It's a nightmare.
It's just complete. There's no rhyme or reason. So anyway,
but it's a good old man nag though. I mean, it's
well, and from a customer from a customer service standpoint, I pride myself on trying to be on time. So, I always and I always plan for a little extra time. It's always better to be early than it is late. But, man, sometimes it's just impossible. I mean, it's literally impossible.
Yeah.
Especially
and folks, if you've never talked to Larry when he's driving, boy, you can hear, I never heard words like that before.
Yes, you have. Johnny, I've heard you utter them when you're on the phone. Look at that.
Wow.
But
I mean,
you do that on a family show. What gets said?
There's Blue.
So I've got my last bug list and this is a very personal bug list that you would think after all these years I'd get better at this, but this is my poor ability to judge time to completion on a job, meaning how to anticipate, like, oh, that'll only take me a few minutes. I don't know why I always believe myself. Oh, that'll only take me a little bit of time.
I don't say that anymore.
Yeah, I know. I'm getting better. Yeah. I have to admit, I'm getting better because now I'm like, yeah, so what's that really going to take? And then I'm like, I take my initial figure and I just go ×4. Oh, that's good. That's relatively safe. Still not safe because it's still wrong, but, and always wrong short, it seems like. Whatever.
Yeah.
But that's on my bug list, but that's something that I'm trying to work on. At least I have some kind of control over that. But boy, I'm telling you, that's for all of you people that are out there trying to look at these jobs or any of this. And I don't care if it's a homeowner or what, always just tell yourself you're wrong. It's going to be longer than
I'll tell you, one last one, and this goes along with going through the airport.
Oh,
what a nightmare, right? This goes along with that, and that is, when I have to go and I have to return something to the big box stores.
Oh, well, I want to throw in my favorite, going into the other big box stores like a Costco or a Sam's or whatever, right? Folks, when I go shopping in a Costco or Sam's, get out of my way. If you're in the way, I will run you over. I am not there to and people,
it's not the city museum experience.
No, why do they walk so slow? We walked into Costco the other day. Swear to God, go into Costco, right? They narrow you down through the funnel, right? Going in through the door because you got to show your card, right?
Yep.
Then the aisles open up. This family goes through with 5 people. What's the first thing they do? They spread out across the whole way. Like they blocked the whole. I just said, excuse me, and went right through them.
Oh,
I was
dude,
like,
I
was like, get out of the way.
There's an old man coming through.
Took up an aisle that's wide enough for 12 people with 5 people. I'm like, excuse me. And I just was right through them. I was like, get out of my way. I'm not here I am here to pick up the stuff I need and get the heck out of here. I got stuff to do.
Yeah, it's the same way in any of these things, especially when you're on the clock. So
airport, same way. Though you brought it up, and the airport reminded me. I cannot even keep up with my wife in the airport. She's like a machine. And the thing that bothers me about that is we're going through the airport, and she forgets I'm carrying the bags. So she's threading needles going between 2 people. And I'm like, I can't do this, or I'm going to literally hit people, and I'm not going to do that in the airport, right? In the Atlanta airport, as you know, that could be a life.
Unless you can't hit people unless you're at the Spirit terminal. But we'll leave that for another day.
Ouch, Johnny.
So, anyways, well, Larry, I think we beat this one up. Oh, no pun intended, but so, anyways.
All right. Well, all I can say is, Johnny, is there anything when you're taking a spaceship apart that bugs you? I'm not going to touch what I'm thinking about. I'm just going to let it go.
No, don't pick up the soap. All right, fans.
Yeah, well, with that, sports fans, that's
Folks,
right. With that, sports fans, we'll be here all week. Try the veal and tip your waitstaff appropriately. I understand that they've got a great show for you tonight. So anyway, if you appreciate the Handyman Pro Pros Radio Show. Tell your friends and neighbors. Drop us a line, questions at handymanprosradioshow.com, and we will respond. Believe it or not, we do respond. So
I got to go fix a toilet.
Soon. Yeah, Johnny's got to go do some toilets. I got to go hang some drywall. With that, folks, we'll see you next week on the Handyman Pros Radio Show.